Hello everyone. I welcome you all. Hello everyone. I welcome you all. What we had discussed in last class? In last class, we had discussed about resistance variation with temperature, right? For conductor as well as for semiconductors. Now, today we will be discussing about some profiles which are very important for board point of view. So, let me introduce one by one. Suppose we are having a situation in which we are having a cuboid like this conductor, cuboid shaped conductor like this, and let me complete the diagram firstly. Suppose this is the cuboid, and suppose its length is L, breadth is B, and height suppose H. Now see what we are supposed to find. We are supposed to find resistance ratio. Suppose the left sided face is A, right sided is B, upper sided face is C, and lower sided face is D. Okay, there are, you can see this, that there are 6 faces in this cube. In each cube there are 6 faces, and we are supposed to find resistance ratio across AB and across CD. Also we are given one relation that L is to B is to H is what, 3 is to 2 is to 1, right? This is the problem, this is the profile. See, what is the sense of finding out resistance across AB? It means actually just like we are connecting this face and this face with a battery, and when this battery makes flow of current through it, then what resistance this will offer is RAB. And in the same manner we can say then that when we connect battery across CD faces, then the current will effectively flow from C to D, then the resistance which will get introduced in that case will be RCD, and we are supposed to find this ratio. Let's start solving this. See, we all know this, that R is what, rho L by A, right? And rho represents resistivity of the material. Okay, so this is the property of material. That means if material is same, this rho will also be same. This will not change until unless we change the material, right? So rho is constant in this case. So let me write first of all RAB value. If I consider the ratio constant as x, then I can write this as L as 3x, B as 2x, and H as x, right? This thing we can also do over here. Clear? So let us write RAB firstly. So rho is same. What length will be offered for this resistance? You can check this from this diagram, that the effective length for AB faces is L, and effective area will be this cross sectional area, and that is given by B into H. So further I can simplify and I can write this as L, after putting value of L as 3x, B as 2x, and H as x, I am getting over here 3 rho by 2x, right? Equation number 1. In the same manner, let us write RCD, and finally we will divide in order to find the required ratio. So rho is still same, multiplied by L. So you can check this out, just like we calculated for AB phase. Once you connect battery across CD, the effective length becomes this, and that means the value of H. So let me put H over here divided by the area. Now the cross sectional area which you will use in this case is what, this will be the cross sectional area, right students? So let us find out the value of this area. The value for this area is what, see, you can check this out, that this is in the shape of rectangle and the length is L and the breadth is B. So here comes a length into breadth, that means L into B. Now let us put again value of H, that is X, value of L, that is 3X, value of B, that is 2X. So this is coming out as rho by 6X, right? Equation number 2. And finally what you will do, just divide equation number 1 by equation number 2, right? So when you divide this, you will get RAB by RCD equals 3 rho by 2x, okay, and this is in form of fraction. So when this comes in denominator, you can further write it in product by taking reciprocal of this fraction. So this is becoming x got cancelled out, this is becoming 9. So the ratio is 9:1. Okay, so this is the correct answer, right? Got it? So this is very important profile, right, students? Next, now we are going to introduce one concept of current density. Current density. I'll let you know about its use as well. So what is current density? The first question is, see, when we consider flow of current through any conductor, the way actually in which electrons flow, free electrons, free charge flow through this conductor is quite random, is in zigzag. And what we do while studying electric current, we just replace this random picture by average motion, average movement, and then comes the concept of drift speed. If you have attended my previous lectures, then you can easily understand what I am trying to say, right? So you can also observe this thing, that suppose area of this conductor is capital A, let's say, right? And as this end is at higher potential, this is at lower potential, so current must be flowing from positive to negative like this, okay, right? And what we do, we define current density first of all by J, and this is what actually current per unit area. How do we define current density? This is what current per unit area. So let us consider from this total area A, total current flowing is capital I. So the current density is what? I by A. So you can easily understand this thing, that why we are defining it as density, because this is what? Current per unit area, right? Let me explain it in detail. A represents what? Area of cross section. Area of cross section, right, students? A is what? Area of cross section, which actually represents number of points lying on the surface. Area, the significance, the meaning of area is this, number of points. So basically we are talking about flow of current, and when we talk about flow of current, we count total area, we consider total area, we consider the total flow of charge through this area, right? So this capital I current is not through only one point, this is through the complete area, right? But when we define current per unit area, that means we are dividing the total current by number of points. So the term which is going to appear in this form is actually the current at a point, at a single point. This is the sense of current density. So that means how dense the current is flowing, right? Let me add a few things more in this picture. Suppose we are having a conductor which is variable in area, right? Suppose we are connecting battery so that current may flow through it, right? Now when I consider any two cross sectional area, suppose this is one P named as P, and this is another area named as Q. Now if I ask you to relate the current flowing through area P with current flowing through area Q, So if you relate current flowing through area P and current flowing through area Q, you will find this equation, means both the currents will be equal. How you might be getting confused, but let me explain this also. Ip equals Iq. See, current is what? Total amount of flow of charge per unit time, right? So suppose some amount of charge is flowing through P in some time, right? So as per law of conservation of charge, you will see that same amount of charge will have to pass through this another cross section area as well, because law of conservation of charge says that charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. So that is what happening over here, that the amount of charge, suppose in some time 100 electrons are passing through area P, same number of electrons must have passed through area Q as well. Okay, that number cannot be greater than 100 nor be lesser than 100, right? So this is in accordance with law of conservation of charge. So we'll have to say that Ip equals Iq, right? So you can say Ip equals Iq in the favor of law of conservation of charge. Clear? Now you will think that, sir, so this variable cross sectional area, how this variable cross sectional area is going to affect the flow of current? Let me introduce this fact as well. See, if we consider actual flow of current, this would be in this form rather. So number of lines would appear same through both the areas, representing this equation Ip equals Iq. But you can observe the, one thing from this picture, that on area P the flowing current is more dense than area Q. In area Q the amount of flowing of current is still same, but the density is different. The density is lesser than that of area P. So that is what we define in terms of current density. So you can see from the name, current density means density of current, and now you can see from this picture that current density at point P is greater than that at point Q, right? So this is the actual concept of defining current density. We actually define current density as the density of flow of current. Okay, and the way we define, we introduce the expression is I by A, right? So let us arrange all these things properly in proper manner so that we can prepare notes. Let me clear this out. Let me clear this out. Okay. So this was the situation initially. Current I is flowing through area A, and how we are defining current density, you just, while making notes, you just ignore these overwritings, right? And now from this current density term, we can say that unit of current density is what? Ampere per meter square, right? And let me mention also the definition. This is what current density at a point is what? Current flowing per unit area. Current flowing per unit area. Per unit area. Right? So J is what? I by A. Unit is this. Students, current density is a vector quantity. It has a particular direction. As this is a vector quantity, so we must question the direction of this current density. Now see how direction is introduced. Things will be more clear to you once we introduce formula for current density. So let us talk about formula firstly for current density. See, current is what? We all know that current is what? NEAVD, right? we have already discussed it. Now if I divide I by A, then I get NEVD, right? So this I by A is actually becoming J. So this is what NEVD. Further, you can replace VD as, if you remember, we have defined VD as well in terms of relaxation time, E tau by M, right? So the final expression for J is becoming NE square E tau by M. Now you can see N is constant, E is constant, tau is constant, M is constant. Here we have electric field. Electric field depends on the situation, on the shape, size of the conductor, on battery as well, and it is a vector quantity, so J is also vector quantity. Other quantities are scalar. You can check this out. So J is a vector quantity, and here we put vector sign, right students? So J is a vector quantity. That's why I was mentioning that current density is a vector quantity. So if you want to write current in terms of current density, then we write current as J dot A. Okay, and this expression is written in case of uniform current density. In case of uniform current density, we introduce I as J dot A. While in case of variable current density, in case of variable current density, we introduce I as J dot A, J dot dA rather, right? So this is the expression for variable current density. Okay, your concern would be this formula, okay, because generally the board does not ask questions related to this situation, the variable density case. So you can just ignore this formula. You would have to go through this formula, right? So let me give one relation, important relation. Board generally ask about this relation, and that is what relation between this you can consider as a fresh topic. So I am right now mentioning relation between current density and specific resistance. Okay, now see what is specific resistance. Specific resistance is resistivity actually. So current density in terms of, we want to define current density in terms of specific resistance. So once again, let's come back to the expression V equals IR. This is Ohm's law, right? Now I can write R in terms of rho, that is rho L by A. Is it clear? Now further I can write V by L equals I by A into rho, right? And if you remember, V by L represents what? Electric field. So on the next page I can write V by L is electric field, and this equals what? This equals I by A. I by A means what? E. Is it clear students? Sorry, I by A means J. This is what? J, right? So I by A is what? J into rho. So this is the expression for relation between electric field and current density with specific resistance. You can also write this as E by rho, which can further be written as J equals sigma E. So this also says that J vector and E vector are always in same direction, right? Student, one more thing, the formula, the concept which I had introduced. Now I would like to introduce one more topic, and that is mobility. Mobility is what? This is actually telling us the favor of conductor towards the flow of current. Just like we want to know how the mobile free electrons in a conductor are. Mobility means simply related to the motion of conductors, and the motion of conductors, motion of free electrons is given by Vd, and the expression for Vd is what? E tau by m. So we can see from this expression that Vd depends on electronic charge, external electric field, tau, relaxation time, and mass of electron. See, other than capital E, the terms E, tau, and m are intrinsic property of the conductor. These are independent of external factors, but only capital E is dependent on external factors. So just we want to define mobility as the internal property of any conductor. So what do? We just divide this Vd by E, and once we divide Vd by E, we get E tau by m. So this is what mobility, this is how we define mobility, right? So mobility means mu, and this is what Vd by E, right? So the expression for mobility is this. And if you want to introduce current in terms of mobility, the expression for current is what? NEA Vd, right? And just introduce Vd as mu E. So you get NEA into what? Mu into E, right? You will try to solve example number 3.3 and 3.4 from NCERT. I'll do the complete discussion for these examples in next lecture, right? One more thing, students, this expression is also important for us, because this is known as microscopic form of Ohm's law. Microscopic form of Ohm's law. So whenever, suppose a microscopic form of Ohm's law is mentioned, that means situation is talking about J equals sigma E. So remember this thing, that this is what? Microscopic form of Ohm's law. Clear? Now what we are going to study? We are going to study combination of resistances. Combination of resistances. Students, you have learned this combination, this type of combination in capacitor as well, and the same type of profiles actually exist in this chapter also. And we are just going to repeat all the things except formulae for series and parallel combination for resistance are just opposite to that of the case of capacitor, right? So let me introduce what firstly series combination. You know, why do we combine a number of resistances in different combination? We just want combine in order to find a required resistance. Suppose if we are having a number of resistors of different resistances, but we don't have the value, the required value, okay, then what we do? When we combine in a particular format all the given resistances in order to find that required value, that desired value, right? So we are going to firstly define types of combination. The first type, which is very common, is series combination. Okay, this we also learn in 10th standard, but here we'll go into quite detail. So just a minute. Series combination, right? There are actually three types of combinations. First is series, second is parallel, and the third one is complex. That is actually the mixture of series and parallel. Okay. So what happens in series combination? We have two resistances, and these two resistances are combined like this from end to end, and these are further connected to a battery like this. Suppose battery is not mandatory, but in order to get a clear picture, I have represented a battery as well. The first thing which is related to this series combination is what is the flow of current. So current flowing through each resistance is same, right? In series combination the current flowing is same. जितना करंट एक R1 से फ्लो होगा, सेम करंट must be flowing through R2. Suppose I current is flowing through R1, and same I current must be flowing through R2, right? यहाँ पे काफ़ी सारे स्टूडेंट्स कंफ्यूज होते हैं इस चीज़ को लेके कि सर यहाँ पे जो करंट है ये R1 खा जाएगा, कंज्यूम कर लेगा, तो सेम करंट। ऐसा नहीं होता। करंट तब फ्लो होता है जब पूरा यहाँ से यहाँ तक सर्किट कंप्लीट हो और यहाँ से यहाँ तक पूरा चार्ज फ्लो हो, ठीक है, देन ओनली करंट फ्लोज। तो टोटल करंट हमें मिलेगा पूरे सर्किट में और वो सेम मिलेगा, राइट। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस may be different. Why may be? Because in case of identical resistances, potential difference will be same. Moreover, if you want to find equivalent resistance, so let me introduce equivalent resistance properly. Equivalent resistance means a single resistance which when connected with this battery, same battery, then it draws same amount of current as is drawn by the actual combination of resistances. So we want to define R equivalent. The concept is again, let me tell you that this will draw same amount of current as it is drawn by these two resistances after connecting with same battery. So current is same, right? Now suppose here the voltage drop is V1 and the voltage drop is V2. So we can mention that total potential difference is what, V1 plus V2, and as per Ohm's law I can write from this diagram, I can write V equals I into R equivalent, and V1 is what, I into R1 from the above picture plus I into R2. After cancelling out I am getting R equivalent as R1 plus R2. So this is what, simple algebraic sum. So you can do simple algebraic sum if you want to find total resistance, effective resistance, equivalent resistance in series combination, right? So if we have n number of identical resistances, if we have n number of identical resistances, so students, what do we get? R equals R equivalent, R plus R and so on up to n times. So this becomes NR. So you can directly always written as NR, right? You can also say one thing that in series combination, effective resistance is always greater than any greatest value of out of given resistances. Are you getting what I am trying to say? जितने भी गिवन रेजिस्टेंसेस होंगे उन सब में से जो सबसे बड़ी वैल्यू है उससे भी बड़ा निकल कर आता है। तो यहाँ पे इफेक्टिव जो वैल्यू है वो क्या होती है, इंक्रीज हो जाती है स्टूडेंट्स, राइट। सो ये तो बहुत ही आसान बात थी। नाउ यहाँ पे मैं आपको पैरेलल का भी कॉन्सेप्ट बतला देता हूँ फटाफट, एंड देन वील कम ऑन न्यूमेरिकल्स। सो पैरेलल कॉम्बिनेशन, in parallel combination we have a number of resistances connected like this. Let's start from only two resistances, R1 and R2. These are connected to a battery like this, suppose. So in this case the potential difference what we have applied with this battery remains same across both the resistances, right? So potential difference across both the resistances is same. Now let's see how do we write equivalent resistance. So in this case, first of all, let's talk about characteristic. In this case, potential difference is same, right? Current may be same. How? If it is a case of identical resistances, current may be same. In that case, current will be same. Now let's talk about equivalent resistance. The equivalent means the total resistance with which, if this given network is replaced, then that resistance would draw same amount of current as is drawn by the actual combination. So suppose actual combination is drawing total current I, in which I1 is flowing through R1 and I2 is flowing through out R2, then let us draw the circuit diagram for effective resistance. This is what R, effective resistance, and drawing total current I. So in this case, I can write I equals I1 plus I2, clear, and I can be written as V by R. R is the equivalent resistance, and I1 can be written as V by R1. Similarly, I2 can be written as V by R2. After cancelling out V, we get 1 by R equivalent equals 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So this is what the algebraic sum of reciprocal of all the resistances gives the reciprocal of total resistance, right? And in this case, R equivalent comes out as smaller. This is just opposite to the case of series combination, comes out as smaller than the smallest, सबसे छोटी वैल्यू से भी छोटा है, smallest value of given resistances, right? So in parallel combination, resistance always decreases, right? And in series combination, resistance increases. So this is the expression. And if suppose it is a case of n number of identical resistances, if there are n number of identical resistances, then what will happen? We can write this formula as 1 by R equivalent equals 1 by R plus 1 by R up to nth term. So this becomes n by R actually. And final formula, I am going to write the final formula on this same page. R equivalent will come out as R by n. So remember this. So students, next class is going to be very important, because in next class I'll be explaining the case of complex combination, in which we'll be dealing with the combination of series and parallel both. So don't forget to attend the next class. And if there is any doubt, you can contact me on the given number which I have already provided to you. Okay, thanks for watching.